welcome to the Breakthrough Artists. We are going live today with Nathan Luwa, who is an up-and-coming actor based in Birmingham currently. He will be moving to London soon, which I'm sure he will talk to us all about. But I'm very much looking forward to hearing more about Nathan's journey. We did try to do this live a minute ago, but it, for some reason, wouldn't let me allow Nathan to join. But it does seem to be. And we've got Taja in the chat. Hi, Taja. I know you will be with me on the live for the last one in a couple of weeks. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But today, it is the man himself, Nathan Luwa. How are you, Nathan?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
No, of course, man. Thanks so much for joining. Hi, Taja. So Taja's one of the breakthroughs as well. So she's come and joined us, which is amazing. So Nathan, very much... this is just about you. I want to get to know you a little bit more. I want to get to know how you got into the arts, what your aspirations are moving forwards, you know, and where you see the industry going, you know, in years to come. So I guess the first question, you know, is what made you want to become an actor?
So the simple answer is that I just absolutely love movies and TV shows. But I first knew I wanted to be an actor when I was about 14, 15.
Okay.
I was heavily involved in like drama at my schools, plays, poetry competitions, all that type of stuff. And but I never really took it seriously. I first started having thoughts of taking it seriously about 19. Just when I'd started uni to study management, so nothing to do with acting whatsoever. Finished uni, and then I was 22. I was like, you know, this idea is still in my head. I really want to give it a go. And then that's when I joined, you know, websites like Star Now, Mandy, started auditioning and booking like, you know, short films just to see if I had a taste for it. And yeah, it just went well, and it just hasn't really stopped. Things have just kind of snowballed, and I'm meeting new people all the time, and the hunger just grows.
Amazing, man. I mean, the thing that really strikes me about you, and I'm sure people who are listening now, is your voice. It's very, very distinct. You have very deep voice, but it's also clear as well, and you articulate yourself very well. So that was one thing I really identified about you, and which is why I really wanted to get you on here to see. Are you thinking about any voice kind of work in terms of, you know, VO work or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely want to get involved in that. I bought a microphone, what I think is the Blue Snowball, that one, and I haven't really given it so much time yet, but it's definitely an avenue that I want to explore. Yeah.
Amazing. So just to peel it back then, so you decided kind of at the age of 22 that you were gonna kind of not so much park your job at this stage, but it's kind of you decided that acting was something that you were going to pursue. So how did you go about doing that? So I know that you've joined Lightpost, and unfortunately we're going to be losing you for a while because you're going to the big smoke, London. But yeah, how did you kind of just, you know, you mentioned you went on to Star Now and things like that, but how did you actually get involved practically, in a practical sense? Like, what was your first kind of work that you did?
My first job?
Yeah, so what did you do first? Was it theatre? Was it film? Was it screen? What sort of stuff did you do starting out?
So in the past 2 years, I think the first thing that I did was it was a visual poem. So this was around the time that George Floyd was murdered, and that was the first job I had. This lady who directs shorts, she wanted to, actually no, sorry, a man wrote a piece, and they collaborated, and they were looking for actors, and that was literally my first job. Then shortly after that, I did a short film, or I was cast in a short film that was a Western with this guy from Oxford, a student filmmaker. And yeah, it's quite interesting because my first like gigs weren't based in Birmingham. It wasn't for a good 6 months before I started actually getting.
You traveled to Oxford then for that one?
Yeah. I just used to drive up and down. I mean, I did a short film in Manchester as well. Yeah, I was just driving up and down the place. It didn't help with all the lockdowns as well, so it was quite a while before I eventually started meeting Birmingham-based creatives.
Mm. Well, that's really interesting because you've mentioned something quite significant, which you might not have picked up on yourself, but it's that thing about traveling, which is because sometimes people will say, oh, I don't really want to travel here, I don't want to travel there. Was that ever your feeling, or did you just kind of just go for it?
No, I just went for it. I mean, I'm lucky enough to drive, and I've got a car that, unfortunately I pay for every month. So I've got it. So why not use it to my advantage? Like I'd never turn down a job because if I wanted to do it, the location wouldn't be a factor. But I know with some people it is, and I've always found that really strange, especially people from London. They don't seem to be willing to leave the city.
They don't travel at all. I mean,
No.
my friend was looking for a boyfriend. This kind of so unrelated, but she was looking for a boyfriend, and she said to me, "Do you have any friends?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got lots of friends, but they're all in Birmingham." And she was like, "Ah, well, if they ever move to London," I'm thinking,
yeah, that's the phrase.
like, so
that's
it's
the phrase.
like it's crazy, but I can understand it. The transport's amazing in London. So many theaters, so many production spaces for you to use. So I can understand it in that regard. But yeah, so back onto your kind of practice then. I know you've started up the YouTube thing now. So what's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so literally I started a YouTube channel 3 months ago to put my showreel on. And I've only been pushing it in the past couple of days because I've just come to a realization, like I said, I've only been doing this seriously for about 2 years. Whereas like I want to be, a professional actor, not just in terms of how people see me, but in terms of my ability. And it's like saying you want to be, I don't know, you want to be strong, you want to be hench, but you go to the gym once a month or once a week. You're not really gonna get anywhere. So, I just came to this, I was in this thought process where, if the only time I act is when my agent sends me a casting, or when I go to Light Post, or when I book a short film and work on it for 2 days, if that's the only time I act, I'm not going to get to that level that I'm trying to be at. So I need to exercise regularly with, monologues, little scenes that I shoot by myself. And YouTube is the place to put it. It's my outlet, so I can, share it with people as well as just myself. That was the whole idea behind it. So, like I said, I've just started it and I want to be consistent with it going forward. And as well, I want to detach myself from the idea of being successful.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, I love acting and I don't want other people to be in control of how much acting I do. So that was the whole idea behind the YouTube channel.
That's really cool. And so are there certain types of scenes or monologues that you're drawn to? Is it the more comedics, serious? What's kind of what are you drawn to?
I tend to be drawn to quite serious monologues, just because I think they're the most challenging. The last one I did was it was a bit of both. There was a comedic element to it as well. I mean, really and truly, I want to do everything, every genre, every style, because again, it's exercise. I don't really know what I prefer more than the other yet.
Well, I guess there's kind of more subtle comedy, and then there's more slapstick. So in terms of your preference, would it be more slapstick, or would it be more kind of subtle, nuanced comedy if you were
definitely the other, not slapstick. I don't think there's anything wrong with slapstick, but I don't know that I can do it that well. Not that I've tried, but I just can't see myself being good at slapstick comedy.
Maybe that's where we need to push you into some slapstick, some old school Lauren and Hardy, and see how that goes.
Who knows? It might be my favorite.
No, that's all good. So you're going to London then. What's going on in London? What's made you want to go there?
So most of my friends are actually based in London. There's that. Then there's the element of the creative scene is, you can't compare it to anywhere else really outside of, I don't know, Hollywood and New York. And then just in terms of moving away from the creative side, the types of jobs that my university degree prepares me for, London is the place for all of them as well. So I'm moving there for a job in consulting, management consulting. So that's the reason that I'm actually able to move. So yeah, it's actually three big reasons.
So it's essentially about saying, okay, identify that I've got to a certain point here in the city, but now I'm kind of searching for new opportunities to be in a new environment to push myself. Is that kind of the thinking?
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, most of my friends are based in London. I say like my longtime friends, for sure. So it's just about being around, the people that I'm familiar with. It's funny because I've lived in Birmingham for a while, but just from uni, pretty much everyone after
Which
uni
uni
just
were you
went
at?
to Bath, South, by Bristol.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
I
friends
like
I
that
made there,
uni, actually. I
and
liked
then the
that
friends that I grew up with as well, everyone's just ended up in London.
So let's speak a little bit about your process then. What do you find most challenging about acting, and what do you find to be the most enjoyable part of it?
I'll start with the enjoyable part because that's the easiest. It's catharsis for me, I think. You get a lot of release from really losing yourself in a role. In terms of what the most challenging part is, I would say it's definitely the preparation. That's something I'm still kind of, I don't think, I wouldn't say struggling. I'm learning. I'm still learning about preparation and how important it is. There's that famous quote, an actor prepares. And I'm only now just kind of deeping what that entails.
Yeah.
And as much as it doesn't feel like work, you kind of have to treat it like work, especially in the preparation phase like this. In the most simple example, knowing your lines, it's not enough to just know your lines. You need to know them enough to say them backwards. Because when you go into, the performance, that gives you the freedom to not think about the lines, but think about the energy and the dynamics and listen to what your scene partners are saying to you. That so it's just that I don't have a problem with learning lines, but it's just getting into the headspace of the character, making sure I'm emotionally there. It's all really, really hard.
Do you enjoy that process? So it's challenging, but do you enjoy it at the same time?
I enjoy figuring out a character, but sometimes you can hit a block where you haven't really found the character. You don't know where you stand with the character, and that can be quite frustrating. But once you push through that, it gets very enjoyable. I mean, like I said, the best part is when you're there and you're absolutely prepared and you're performing and you're lost in the zone. That's the best part.
And what do you find the differences between, for example, the processes you've been through with theatre and the processes you go through with screen? Is there much of a difference, or?
I think with theatre, there's a lot more onus on preparation, I think. I'm trying to phrase that in the best way. I think with screen, there's that assumption that you'll show up prepared because you don't get that rehearsal period most of the time. You just kind of have to go there, and you might be working with a director that's only going to give you 1 take, 2 takes. You might be with a director that's going to do it 10 times. Whereas with theatre, you have that. I mean, with Forgotten Key Workers, we were rehearsing for months. It felt like months.
I wasn't even there for most of it, but
yeah, exactly. It was a long time. It changed over and over again. It felt a lot more collaborative, I would say, from start to finish. And I do love that aspect of theatre. So yeah, they are quite different.
Were there moments though? Because I mean, that's a really good point, because there is a thing about that rehearsal process, which unless people are familiar with it, they might think they're wasting time, or this isn't going anywhere or whatnot. But then obviously when you get to that final, when you get to the dress rehearsal and you see everything come together, it's quite special. But what was your experience of that? Because I wasn't there for most of the rehearsal, but I know it did change quite a lot at that point.
Yeah, it did. Obviously, as a cast member, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't see. So I was just going with the flow. It was the first stage performance that I'd had in about six years. So I didn't know what was like normal, what was standard. I was just kind of going with it. And it
Yeah.
was a bit, at times you felt like, okay, are we going to be ready? But
Yeah.
when it came down to it, it's like, you always kind of find a way. The show always has a way of coming together.
Yeah.
I find.
Absolutely. And I think that's such a kind of a really good point about kind of trusting the process as well. As an actor, your role is to kind of deliver this character, whatever you've been asked to do. You've just got to deliver and make sure you're doing your part. It's easy to kind of get overwhelmed about what's going on around, and is this going anywhere? Is this what and that, this and that? But as long as you mentioned before, you're able to show up and do what you've been asked to do. That's the key, really. I think things do tend to struggle when people start questioning the direction of things, and then they're not focusing so much on themselves. But piecing it back to screen, then what are some of the challenges in terms of, like you say, sometimes you will just be there and you have to just get on with it. What are some of the challenges that come in with that?
Again, it just goes back to preparation. And there's, beforehand, you don't feel that sense of collaboration as much because you're there by yourself. You might not have worked with any of the cast before, and then you just all have to turn up and kind of be on the same page. And it doesn't always go that smoothly. I think I would say that's the difference. And then sometimes, being on set with cameras and booms, you can feel very aware of where you are and the fact that you're not where the play or where the script says you are, but you're on a plot. And it's just kind of getting into the right headspace to just perform. That can be a challenge.
Cool. And just anyone who is watching, if you have any questions for Nathan, I'm sure he wouldn't mind answering them. And any questions for me as well, feel free to drop them in the chat. So in terms of moving forward, then where do you see your career headed? So you've done some theatre stuff, you've done obviously more screen related films, short films and things like that. Where do you see your career headed now? So you're going to London. What's next for you?
It's about networking, just getting in with more people, being, showing my face around, like I said, practicing, exercising, and I think that will prepare me for bigger opportunities, namely feature films, TV shows. That's what I want to be doing for sure. That's it.
Do you enjoy that side of things, like networking and sort of things, or is it something you're having to do more anyway?
Do I enjoy it? I enjoy meeting new people for sure. And I think that's really helped me. I'm always open to meeting new people, and I've met some amazing people in the past 1 or 2 years. You don't get that if you don't enjoy networking and you don't keep yourself constantly open. So I think I just find myself doing it as well.
What are some of your tips for that then? Because I know a lot of people can be quite shy when it comes to, when they're on screen or on stage, they're really confident, but then when it's kind of that about being more personable, they can sometimes be a bit more introverted. So what kind of tips would you give them to be able to network and be more confident in those spaces?
That's a good question, because I don't really think about it.
It's a thing, though. It is a thing, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't. I mean, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I wouldn't say that you're the loudest person in a room. Like, you're not. No. We've had Corey on here. Corey's definitely a lot more extroverted than you are.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're still able to both get opportunities because you network in your own individual ways. So I know it's about being authentic, but what would you say to someone who's feeling a bit nervous? They're not quite sure how to network. What would you say to them?
What you just said, being authentic, is definitely a big thing. I would say don't try to be something that you're not. If you're not a loud person, then don't try and be loud. I'm a quiet person, and I like to, especially with people that I don't know, I like to be very what's the word? Efficient with my words. Only say what only say what I need to say. Just kind of know what you have to offer as well. And just be friendly, just be nice. I think a lot of people can see who's genuine, and who's not. And I think that will get you quite far. So and I think as well, just at a very simple, technical level, just ask people questions about themselves. People like talking about themselves, and that somehow makes them remember you a bit more.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I always the advice I always give to people is always make sure before you leave the conversation, always make sure you've learned 2 things about that person that you obviously didn't know before. Even if it's a famous person, even if it's someone who you admire greatly, their practice or whatever it is, make sure aside from them being someone that you're obviously in awe of, make sure that you've learned something different about them. I learned when we were on a call with Adrian Lester, I learned that he does karate, and then I started talking to him about his karate practice and things like that. And then that ingrains it in your memory, so that if you come across them again, you can talk about, oh, how's karate? And then it's not you're constantly like saying, I'm an actor, I do this and that. It's more of a relationship. So that's a bit of advice I would give, but that's so true about yourself. That's being authentic and just say that again.
I say don't hard yourself. Don't.
Oh,
as well.
I think
Did you get that?
I think the connection went a little bit. Don't hard sell yourself. I did hear it though. It's fine now. Yeah.
That was basically it. Yeah, don't hard sell yourself.
Yeah.
Just take it easy. I mean, because I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like a professional networker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just don't do too much. Don't do too much. But don't shy away. Closed mouths don't get fed.
So true. It's so true. You have to be confident in yourself. That's what I always tell. That's what I always say to you, like post guys. It's that kind of industry. You have to back yourself, and people will back you back of yourself, So we've got a comment from Raheem here. He's just asked, any tips on how to memorize lines?
I think write it down. Okay. I'll do it step by step. What I do: read it, obviously, but then write it down as you're reading it. And then after that, what really helps is if you write down the first letter of each word and the punctuation, and then test yourself based on those first letters. And then after that, you can do it without the letters, and then try doing it while doing something else. I think you don't know the lines truly until you can recite them while doing something else. Might be washing dishes, folding clothes, anything like that. I'd say those are the tips I'd give.
That's such good advice. Do you tend to learn small chunks at a time, or do you just kind of try and plow through a scene?
If it's a lot of text, then small chunks. I don't think you can learn, I don't think you can learn a sonnet in one go. Sonnet is a 14-line poem. I don't think you can learn that in one go. But if it's a little bit, you probably can.
Yeah. Amazing.
I remember I was just going to say with the last short film I did, I had about 4 or 5 sides, somewhere between 3 and 5 sides of dialogue. And because it was through my agent, it was like, quote unquote professional job. They were like, oh, by the way, we need you to be off book by the time we're shooting. But this was like 3 days later. So I had 3 days to learn all that text. And, when you do, I would say don't panic, but just do those really practical techniques of just writing it down, writing the first letters, and you will get there. And of course, YouTube, there's loads of methods on YouTube.
Amazing. So thank you for that, Nathan. Raheem, I hope you heard that, and we're making plenty of notes. There's some really good points there. I've never heard the one about the first letter and then full stop next to it. That sounds really useful. So on to you then. What is your inspiration? I'm going to say that broadly. What is your inspiration? And I'm going to say who inspires you. So what is your inspiration, and then who inspires you as well?
So what, just generally?
Generally, what is your inspiration in life?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You don't hold back with these questions, do you, man?
Existential, man. Existential.
Who inspires me? Who inspires me? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I would say the first one that comes to mind is Barack Obama. It's really, really cliche, but you know, when he was elected, I was like, okay, you know, we can really do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really. And then from an acting point of view, I just remember watching the trailer for Star Wars. When I found out John Boyega was English and Nigerian, I was like, oh, raw. So like, you know, I can possibly, you know, this is something that someone like me can potentially do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say those two. I mean, there's loads I could probably go on for ages, but I'll keep it short with those two.
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, it sounds like you're inspired by people that break barriers, that, you know, break barriers, and positive role modeling as well, which is really important. And then what inspires you? So you've got who inspires you, and then what inspires you? Is it nature? Is it, you know, playing video games? You know, what is it that gets you out of bed in the morning?
Wow, this is.
I'm a writer. These are the questions I have.
This is like a therapy session right now. What gets me out of bed in the morning?
Yeah, man, you need to know these, because is this your first interview?
Yeah, can you tell? Yeah, it is. What gets me out of bed in the morning? Breakfast, my guy. I don't know what else. I don't know what to tell you. What gets me out of bed in the morning? What inspires? I don't even know. Like, I just feel like I'm just trying to survive. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to. I've got bills to pay. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's.
So it's like. So, I guess there's nothing kind of external that kind of keeps you motivated. Is it all kind of very intrinsic? You know this is something you have to do, and you just get it done. Is that kind of what you think?
I mean, what keeps me motivated is the dream, right? That's for a while I really didn't know what I was doing. Like because with the acting thing, it wasn't really encouraged. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I need to be an accountant, or I need to be a banker, or I don't know. I need like a, you know, quote unquote, a real job. But it wasn't really a passion. It was just, that's where the intrinsic element came. I have to get out of bed. I have to go to school. Yeah. I have to get a job just because that's what's done. Whereas now, you know, this makes me feel more alive. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's what gets me out of bed.
Amazing. I love that. It's so, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer for these things, you know, but it's good. Yeah. It's good to reflect. You know what I mean? I think if you ask me on the spot as well, I'd probably not really know what to say, but I'd just figure something out like that. Breakfast. Yeah. But no, that's cool. So I usually round this up then by saying, where would you see yourself at the end of this year? Oh, we've got another comment from Raheem. Loved your Killing Chuck monologue. I'm also planning on performing that monologue as part of my show reel. Any advice on how I should do it? So yeah, feel free to answer that one.
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate that comment. I appreciate that, man. Thanks. That monologue, I don't even remember how I found. I think I must have just Googled monologues for guys. I just wanted something to practice with. In terms of what was the question? How to go about it? Yeah. That monologue is tough, man. I tried it. It took me a lot of goes before I was comfortable to put it out. And even then, the version I put out, I didn't want to put out. But basically, the last shoot I was on, this guy, one of the models, was also a life coach. and we were just talking about being consistent and, you know, being perfectionists. And
Yeah.
he brought, you know, I mentioned, oh yeah, there was this monologue and I was going to put it out, but then I thought, no, I don't want, I'm not comfortable. And he was like, just put it out. So to be even honest, the version I put out, I wasn't comfortable with. I think that monologue is very challenging. So if you can like have a crack at it, it's definitely, I would definitely recommend it. It will stretch you because it's doing a lot of things. I know that's not really answering your question. What I would say is try and keep in mind the genre of the play. Don't take it too seriously, because on the face of it, it looks really like intense. Like this guy thinks he's killed someone and he's really up in arms about it. But it is like a teen comedy. So there's an element of farce in it. So I would say don't take yourself too seriously within it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and get a good sense of what is going on. Don't just learn the lines and say it. Yeah, so I'm not an acting coach, so I really really struggle.
That's it. I mean, that's what it is. It's about sharing your perspective, and that was your process. So, you know, Raheem will obviously go away and do his homework and figure out how he can convey that character, and it might be completely different to how you did it. You know, so that's the beauty of acting. You know, it all depends on who's saying the lines. Really, you know, everyone can bring their own unique perspective, and that's the amazing thing about it. So yeah, so I mean, this has been an amazing conversation. I'm sure we will catch up again at some point, but I just kind of want to ask, what do you hope to have achieved by the end of this year? And then I'm going to say, what would you hope to have achieved by the end of 5 years?
Whoa. This year, by the end of this year, I would like to have booked either a TV show or a film. And when I say booked, I don't mean the flipping lead. I mean like any speaking part. Like I'm not reaching for the stars this year, but 5 years. So that's when I'm going to be 30 in 5 years. That is mad. No, I'm going to be 29 going on 30. Same thing. What do I want to have achieved? Man, I would like to be booked and busy, man. I can't even lie. I don't know who's watching. Yeah, man, I don't know who's watching. I hope, you know, there's no employers or anything, but I would like to be.
Well, if you're gonna put this on YouTube, then don't say it if you're employed.
Bro, I want to be doing this for real in 5 years. I'll leave it at that. I want to be doing this for real.
Yeah, that's good. So getting to a point where, you know, you're turning down opportunities because you can't squeeze it in and all of that sort of thing. That's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, full time. I want to be doing this full time in 5 years. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's truly inspiring. It's been an amazing conversation. So I finish off with my quick fire questions, and you got to obviously answer them as quickly as you possibly can. So,
okay.
Red or black?
Red.
Blue or green?
Green.
Theatre or film?
Film.
Writing or acting?
Acting.
Drama or comedy?
Drama.
Facebook or Twitter?
Anything but Facebook.
Okay, and last one, London or Birmingham?
Ooh. You're trying to trap me. Bro, I'm gonna say London. I'm gonna sell out. London. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say that's purely down to the opportunities rather than the people.
Yes.
But no, Nathan, it's been absolutely amazing. I'm looking forward to Raheem. I know that you've got quite a few questions. So, do you know Raheem at all?
Raheem.
Yeah.
I can't see the his profile picture.
It's Raheem .cx. But what I will say is, if you drop Nathan a DM, I'm sure he will give you any kind of advice on that, and also watch his YouTube channel as well, and subscribe to that, because obviously he'll be sharing his approaches on there, I'm sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, but no, it's been absolutely amazing, guys. This has been the Breakthrough Artist with Nathan Luwa. Nathan, do you have any final words for your fans in here?
Please don't say that.
No, that's what we call them. These are your what can I call them?
I paid all these lot to be here, man.
These are your Luwans.
They're all paid actors. No, honestly, thanks for having me, man. I was very surprised when you asked me to be on it. So, like I said, it's my first interview, so I really appreciate it. And you're killing it as well. So I was very happy to do it with you, man.
No, thanks so much, man. Of course, the pleasure is all mine, because you're doing amazing work, and I'm looking forward to seeing where you go next. But again, thanks so much. I'm going to end this shortly. Guys, please do follow me on Instagram. We've got some amazing artists coming up. We've got Taja Smith coming up in 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. And then we've got some amazing artists coming up on season 2. So please make sure you follow me. And this has been the Breakthrough Artist. Peace and love. Take care.
Love.